All right, welcome back to the Five Reasons Gambling Show, Tuesday, May 2nd. Back today just by myself. I had Tony Schwartz on yesterday. Both of us went 2-1 with our picks. I had Jokic over 13.5. He went over. PJ Tucker under a half of a 3-point made. I should have went under a half of a point because he didn't even score in the game. And then KD over 2.5 3-points made. I did not get that one. Tony went 2-1 with also Jokic. He had the Rangers, and he had one other NBA that's not on the top of my head right now, but I know he also went 2-1. What we're going to focus on today is tonight's NBA matchups. You got the Heat and the Knicks that a lot of us here at Five Reasons are all focused on, and then the Lakers-Warriors is the late-night game, so we'll talk about that one also. We have a Five Reasons and NBA Central competition going on Bettor Edge. Make sure you check out Bettor Edge. We talk about this every show. Great gambling platform, peer-to-peer betting, best place to get the best lines. We'll go throughout the show and talk about the competition, but you can go in the marketplace, find the best lines anywhere, and do that on Bettor Edge. Use the code bettoredge.com/5 reasons to get yourself a $20 bonus from 5 Reasons Sports. So we're going to jump right in and talk about the competition tonight. The competition is a NBA competition, and we will be scouting that competition, looking at what we've got going on in the NBA. It's sides and totals, also player props. So to get there, you go down to the competition section. You can enter that. It's only $5 to enter. You'll see that it starts with the early game, the Heat and the Knicks, goes through the player props. And as you get down to the bottom, you will see the Lakers and Warriors. It skips off at 10 o'clock. So I'm going to give my 12 picks. It's very easy. You can pick whatever 12 you want. There's almost, I think it's pretty darn close to 100 different options between props, sides, and totals. You get to pick 12, any 12 you want, and whoever finishes in the top 3, they split up. It's called the podium. Basically, it's a 50-30-20 split of the pot. So I'm going to start working my way through, starting with the first game. This may seem like a little bit of a biased pick, but I am going to go with the Heat plus 6.5. It seems like the reporting is leaning towards Jimmy Butler is playing. There are some question marks on the Knicks side with Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. I know there is a lot of people fearful of the fact that Scott Foster is officiating, and the Heat are 0-5 with Scott Foster this year and all these different things. The only thing that Scott Foster does that unifies everyone is that everyone is fearful that he is going to screw over their team. We're not going to get into that with what we're betting here, but I think regardless, the plus 6.5 is pretty good value when you're looking at consensus lines right now. Comparing it to the marketplace, it is plus 6, so it hasn't moved. I think when the news that Jimmy is playing tonight, that can move it in a favorable direction for us. This 6.5 won't change over the course of the night with the competition. If you get any news about Julius Randle not playing, or especially if Jalen Brunson's not playing, that line's going to move in the Heat's favor, and we'll have a favorable line there. So 6.5 is what I'm going to lock in for my first of my 12 plays. As we work through here, RJ Barrett, I'm going to go under 1.5 3-points made. He was 1 of 5 on Sunday, so that would have been an under. Under in 4 out of 6 in the playoffs, under in 36 out of 73 regular season games. He just doesn't strike me, and the Knicks obviously didn't shoot it as well on Sunday. I just don't think that they're going to be able to just bomb away from 3. I think the Heat are going to do a good job defensively. So I'm going to go with the under there, RJ Barrett, under 1.5 3-point made. It's actually a plus 138, so I'm actually taking the underdog side of that. But in this competition, I'm going to go with that under 1.5 3 points made. Looking at another shooter, I'm actually going to combine 2 here. A guy that kind of fell out of favor for a while in Miami, and one of my guys, Duncan Robinson. I'm going to go under 1.5 for him too. It's also plus 126. Duncan in the playoffs has played better. He certainly has an increased role. I'm going to go under 3 points, under 1.5 3-point mades, and under 8.5 points. So I'm kind of tying these two together. In the playoffs, when he's played more than 23 minutes, he's gotten over 8.5 points. When under 23 minutes, he's 0 for 3. In the regular season, he was injured for a while, but in 14 games since the beginning of the calendar year, he's only went over that 8.5 3 times. So we're kind of betting on the fact that Duncan's not going to play a lot of minutes. He will certainly get on the floor. Looking back, I believe he shot 5 threes on Sunday. So you're kind of gambling on the fact that, is he going to make 1? You still win the bet. If he makes 2, you lose. He probably gets up maybe 5 3-point attempts. That's a 40% clip. That's something that he hasn't reached. He's been shooting it better, but he hasn't reached that since really pre-bubble. So I'm going under 1.5 3-point mades and under 8.5 points for Duncan. Now we're going to go to the big men. We're going to look at Mitchell Robinson and Bam Adebayo. We're going to look at their blocks, and I'm going opposite directions here. So for Bam, I'm going to gamble here and go under 1/2 of a block. You think about a center in the NBA, they should be able to have a block. He's actually under in 3 out of 6 in the playoffs. He's under in 3 of his last 11. He cannot get in foul trouble. They don't have a lot of depth there, even with Cody Zeller and Kevin Love playing a lot of minutes. But Bam, I think, it's a risk because you have no room for error. He has to have a 0. But like I said, 3 out of the last 11, which would probably be a surprise to a lot of people that he's been under that number that many times. Mitchell Robinson, I'm going to go over 1.5 blocks. He's been over in 5 out of the 6 in the playoffs. He's been over in 7 of his last 9 in the regular season. So that would be 12 of his last 15 that he's been over. He just has to lock it down inside. It kind of worries me when I talked about Bam because the Heat are going to try to get to the rim. But I think the Knicks especially, both teams trying to play in the paint. Mitchell Robinson, I think, goes over. Bam, I think, goes under. I looked at their rebounds. I thought about Mitchell Robinson rebounds, which is 11.5. He had 14 on Sunday. I just didn't feel as confident as I did with the block. So I went the route of the Mitchell Robinson blocks over and Bam blocks under. Now I'm going to move to the late game, talking about 10 o'clock tip, Lakers, Warriors, LeBron versus Steph. It's going to be an epic battle, hopefully a long series that we get to enjoy. I'm going to lean Lakers 4.5. I talked about this on yesterday's show. The Lakers, I think the Warriors coming out of kind of an exhausting battle with the Kings, they were able to come back and get out of that series, get to the Lakers. I know they're coming home where they're very dominant, but the Lakers have won 3 out of 4 against the Warriors. They got a little bit of a rest. They're playing well. I wonder if their size and strength can kind of negate some of the stuff Looney was able to do against the Kings. The Kings do not have the same size and strength as the Lakers, so I'm going to gamble here on the Lakers plus 4.5. If you have a market where you can bet quarters, I would go the Warriors' third quarter, though, has been a very good bet over the last few playoffs. They come out of halftime and really dominate. So look for that if you have that available to you. Moving into the player props, the next one I have is LeBron James over 9.5 rebounds. He's been over that number in 4 out of 6 in the playoffs. He's averaging 12 rebounds per game against the Warriors. I think he's going to play a lot of minutes. I think if I'm looking at the Lakers winning this game, this is a script where LeBron is active on the glass, whether it's defensive or offense, and gets over that 9.5, just like he has in 4 out of 6 in the playoffs here. My last 4 are actually all connected to 2 different players, Jordan Poole and Dennis Schroeder. So I'm going to talk about Jordan Poole first. Coming out of that playoff series with the Kings, I think Steve Kerr is going to try to lighten the load a little bit on Curry. Obviously, he can't reduce his minutes too significantly, but I think that means an increased role for Jordan Poole. And so I'm going Jordan Poole over 2.5 assists. I'm also going Jordan Poole over 12.5 points. Here is why. Jordan Poole, he was at a 14.5 over-under in Game 7. Now, why is that number dropping by 2 points going into Game 1? Again, I think his role is going to increase. I know the Lakers do present some size that they can throw at him. They're a good defensive team. They're a physical team, but I don't think that's going to be something that's going to deter Jordan Poole. He's a guy that's going to get shots up basically no matter who's guarding him. He's been over in 3 out of 7 in the playoffs. He's been over that number in 65 out of 82 in the regular season. So Jordan Poole over the 12.5 points in Game 1. As I said, also over 2.5 assists. Again, increased role, over 4 out of 6 in the playoffs, over in 66 out of 82 in the regular season. I just think that's a great number. And even if you're not going to be in the competition tonight, these are numbers that you can get over on the marketplace. I'll show you how to get there before I close this up. But those 2, I think, are going to be increased role opportunities for Jordan Poole tonight. He's an explosive player, and points and assists are something that's always going to be part of his game. The next person that I think is going to have an increased role is Dennis Schroeder, and it's not so much about his offense, and you'll see the numbers are lower, but I think it's defensive in his role, guarding Jordan Poole, but also guarding Steph Curry and chasing him around, just the athlete that he is and the defender that he is. So Schroeder, over 2.5 assists also. He's had 3 or more in 4 out of 6 in the first round. He's going to have a bigger role, in my opinion. He's been over in 8 out of the last 10 in the regular season, so that would be 12 out of his last 16. He's been over this number, so over 2.5, pretty low number for a point guard. And then the last one I have is Schroeder over 6.5 points. low number there because he's not a huge offensive player. He was over that number in 53 out of the 66 in the regular season, over in 3 out of 6 in the playoffs. Again, if I think he's going to have an increased role, 6.5 is a pretty low bar to jump over. So those are my 12. I'm not going to run back through them. You can definitely rewind in the YouTube to get through those. Again, you can pick any 12 you want here. Lots of options, almost 100 different options when you do your sides, totals, and props. Role players, starters, everybody's in here. Blocks, rebounds, points, 3-point made. Basically everything is there. I did say that I wanted to show you how to get to these marketplaces. If you just want to bet them individually, you go to the marketplace. We'll go to NBA here. You click over here to get into the game. And then the 3 dots in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see here where the sides and totals, money line, that stuff, but the 3 dots, additional markets, and that's where you'll find any of the open orders. And you can see already here a lot of open orders that you can throw in there. There's been a lot of action, I think, as we get into these lower playoff rounds. Less teams are playing, more action here, and you saw this in the NFL too. So there's lots of opportunities to get good numbers here compared to your consensus marketplaces elsewhere. So thanks for coming in, joining us for another 5 Reasons Gambling show. Use the code bettoredge.com/5 reasons. Get yourself $20 bonus. Use that. It's only $5 to join a competition tonight, and hope to see you there. And we'll be back again later this week with another 5 Reasons Gambling show. Thanks.